Today we are celebrating the fourth TRICOM meeting, whose aim is to eventually eradicate fake news by means of state regulation. What have we established in these past four meetings? What has become obvious to all of us is that the different social media platforms lack a uniform regulation that would require them to, number one, establish a legal entity in our country. Ito po yung kadahilanan kung bakit ang ilang social media platforms po natin ay walang physical presence sa ating bansa. Wala rin po tayong isang regulation kung saan nasasaad na ang kanilang perang kinikita ay dinedeclare o binabayaran ng corresponding tax. Pero hindi ko na po panghihimasukan yan sapagkat yung aspekto ng taxation ay beyond our objective here in the TRICOM. Also, we do not have a regulation that will actually establish the duties and obligations of the different social media platforms in relation to the other stakeholders, such as the content creators. Paano po ba ang relasyon ng mga social media platforms sa content creators? Also to the advertisers, digital advertisers, also to the government itself. It is this void that I think that our committee can be most useful to regulate the social media platforms. I know I am thinking ahead, but this is how we work. We look at the problem, analyze it, while toying with the possible solutions that come up from different members. So we can regulate social media platforms. But to actually regulate the area of content creation is potentially and most probably unconstitutional. In my research, I have discovered that any kind of state regulation over content creation should pass the strict scrutiny test that will be actually applied by the Supreme Court or any corresponding court if the constitutionality of this state regulation is questioned. So from a pragmatic point of view, mas mabuti pa sa puntong pa lang ito, alam na natin kung ano ang haharapin kung tayo ay magkakaroon ng state regulation over content creation. Why? Because content creation is the expression of our fundamental right to free speech. And this is guaranteed by the Constitution. We cannot regulate opinions. We cannot regulate how and what content creators should produce. But we can regulate social media platforms by empowering them and requiring them to act as gatekeepers by establishing guardrails. To give you an idea kung ano po ang magiging problema kung tayo ay magre-regulate ng content creation, ayun ho, mangyayari, magdedemanda to, question sa Supreme Court. At by default, actually, it will be considered as unconstitutional. Dahil automatically we are dealing with a fundamental right, the right to free speech and the right to expression. And the government will have to state and prove and establish a compelling reason, which is rather difficult. So if you were to ask me, and this is something that I've been wanting to tell my colleagues, if we are to regulate, let's regulate the social media platforms. Mr. Chair, this afternoon, I would also like to report to the committee what has been going on in the past weeks. Actually, in the past TRICOM meetings, I have been proposing the establishment of a Digital Council of the Philippines. To recall, it is similar to the Kapisanan ng mga broadcasters of the Philippines, to be formed among the stakeholders themselves by associations and groups of content creators, as well as the digital advertisers, as well as digital marketing firms, as well as the Global AI Council, as well as members of the academe, rather, because the idea was to make the Digital Council of the Philippines a medium by which we can educate the public, in particular the youth, on the responsible use of social media and, most importantly, critical thinking. We also wanted representation from the DICT in the Digital Council of the Philippines, as well as the NBI and the PNP. So the idea is basically self-regulation. It has worked for the advertising world. When commercials are submitted to the scrutiny of the Ad Standards Council to see, based on their own code of ethics and standards, if the commercials are fair and true. So, depende po sa findings ng Ad Standards Council of the Philippines, ay aaprubahan ng isang commercial o hindi. Sa kapisanan ng broadcasters ng Pilipinas naman, sa aking pagkakaunawa, ito po ay hindi government-controlled. Ito po ay self-regulating. And they came up with their own code of ethics and standards, which is to be followed by its members. And they also have their own redress system. And to my knowledge, the Kapisanan ng mga broadcasters in the Philippines also acts as a guild of sorts for its members, to give its members legal assessment and counseling, as well as legal assistance in case any of its members encounter, I don't know, a lawsuit or something in that like. Or as a group, as a guild, because there is strength in unity, it could use its position to leverage. If there is something they have to negotiate with the government. So, going back to the Digital Council of the Philippines, in the past weeks I have met with the CICP, I have met with the Global AI Council. I also met with the Digital Marketing Association of the Philippines. And they are all in agreement that they would rather that they form their own council and that they come up with their own code of ethics and standards than being regulated by the government. Now, you may ask me, para pa tayo entonces nag-investigation? Well, as I said, the regulation should come with regards to the social media platforms. Okay. Kasi mukhang interesado si Vice President Noli de Castro, I will briefly explain kung anong functions itong Digital Council of the Philippines. Yun na nga, unang-una, kailangan meron siyang ma-formulate na code of ethics and standards to be followed by its members. Number two, ito po ang mag-serve as a vehicle to address complaints of victims of fake news. It has the technical means. Ito po yung parang konseho na magsusuri at magfa-fact check kung ang isang complaint ay may basihan, kung tunay na biktima ang isang grupo ng isang scam or isang businessman ng isang scam o kaya ng isang government agency, ng isang fake news, and it will come up with its findings. So what do we do with the findings of the Digital Council of the Philippines? Pag nalaman po niya at napagtanto ng isang piece of information ay walang basihan at fake, ito po ay ifa-flag niya at sasabihin doon sa social media platform. Para po, by law, ang social media platform will be obliged and required to flag a certain piece of information as fake or to take it down, which is already being practiced by TikTok, to my knowledge. And also by some other social media platforms that have community annotations, community notes, no, na nagsasabi itong information na to ay lacking information o ito'y walang basihan. So this is a way of administering justice without stepping on the constitutional right to freedom of speech or expression. Kasi sa laban po sa fake news, ang kalaban po natin talaga dyan, syempre, of course, is the piece of news itself. Ako po ay naniniwala kapag ang isang piece of information ay walang matibay na pundasyon na nakapatong at nakasalalay sa katotohanan, ito po ay babagsak. Pero kailangan nga lang ho ay mag-cooperate ang ating mga social media platforms. Maaring tanong po ng iba dyan, paano mo ma-ensure na lahat ng content creators ay magiging miyembro nitong Digital Council? Pero hindi po ito ang pangarap ng Digital Council of the Philippines. Kahit hindi ikaw ang miyembro ng Digital Council of the Philippines, kapag ang isang piece of information na generate mo ay nireklamo dahil wala itong batayan, ay mapa-flag ito at madedetect ng Digital Council. At eventually, if we pass a law that would require social media platforms to adhere to the findings, recommendations, and instructions of the Digital Council, ay mapa-flag ito as fake and it could be taken down. At syempre, kung ako naman ang content creator, kung sa 10 pieces of information na generate ko, siyam ay nafa-flag as fake, edi parang humukay na rin ako ng sarili kong libingan as a content creator. I shall have lost my credibility and whatever is left of my moral authority to actually express my opinion over social media. So, Mr. Chair, may I be given the chance to interpolate some of our resource persons?
Congressman Geraldine, I thought that you're going to ask question to Noli.
Okay.
So
May I ask
we are tackling the issues one by one. The fourth issue will be the social media influencers. So
May
I think you reserve your question dun sa social media. The source person that we are now asking question to is former Vice President Noli De Castro.
May I have the pleasure of interpolating our former Vice President and fellow journalist,
Yes po.
Noli De Castro. Kumusta po kayo, Mr.
Mabuti
Vice
po,
President?
mabuti po.
Yes. Kayo po bilang isang mamamahayag, gaano nyo pinahahalagahan ang ating constitutional right to free speech and expression?
Of course, kami yung mga broadcaster, kami tayong mga broadcast journalists, mahalaga po siyempre ang constitutional rights natin to free speech, freedom of speech. Number one ho yun. Pero, as a broadcaster din po, sinabi niya sa kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, during our seminars, way back, ang ini-instill sa aming utak ay maging responsible journalist. Responsible on the air. That means, ang sasabihin namin ay may batayan, may source, sabi nga ninyo, ay titindig yung mga balita. Kahit sinong komisyon ay nakatindig yung mga balita, may mga patunay. So, yun, responsible journalist. I remember that, I cannot forget that, be a responsible journalist.
Mr. Chair, maidagdag ko pa po, kayo po ba ay kasapi ng kapisanan ng mga broadcaster
Of
ng
course,
Pilipinas? Yes po.
automatic po yun.
At meron po ba kayong sinusundang Code of Ethics and Standards sa loob po ng KBP?
Meron din po. Maliban doon sa Code of Ethics namin sa ABS-CBN.
Okay, meron din sila sa ABS-CBN.
Opo.
Ngayon po, sa inyong karanasan, meron na ba kayong na-encounter na isang kasapi ng KBP na hindi tumalima sa inyong Code of Ethics and Standards?
Well, unang-una ho, hindi na kinakailangan dumaan pa sa KBP pag may ganon. Yung mismong station ang nagdidisiplina sa kanya tungkol diyan. Kasi kumisan, inaamin ko rin naman na may mga broadcaster na may mga political leanings. Lalo na ho ngayon, malapit ng eleksyon. So, meron ding mga broadcaster ang nagagamit ng ilang mga, well, of course, kandidato dahil sa malapit ng eleksyon for monetary reason.
Yes po,
Opo.
Mr. Chair. Kung sakali po, yung mismong radio station ay kakonsyaba noong, I don't know, ng isang politiko, paano yon? Ina-apply po ba sa ganitong instance
Yun lang ho.
yung Code of Ethics at saka standards ng KBP?
Yun lang. Baka ho mamaya ay utos din ng istasyon.
Opo. Pero po, ang sabihin ko, doon po, meron po bang in that case, i-apply ang KBP?
Dapat ho magreklamo ang isang kandidato sa kapisanan ng mga broadcaster. ng Pilipinas.
Okay po. Mr. Chair, nais ko rin tanungin si Vice President Noli de Castro at ito ay related sa kanyang karanasan bilang mamamahayag. Kung kayo po ang tatanungin, gusto niyo po ba magkaroon ng ahensya ng pamahalaan na magre-regulate ng content o kaya ng balita na inyong binibigay?
Medyo pumapasok ko doon yung freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Doon pumapasok.
So, sa madalit salita po, Mr. Chair, hindi kayo sang-ayon.
Hindi ho, pero pwedeng i-regulate to in some sense. Hindi ho yung pure regulation.
Yes. Mr. Chair, for the information of our resource persons and my colleagues, there is already a law that actually addresses the problem within the world of journalism. And this is the 2012 Cyber Libel Act. Basically, we have the freedom of speech and expression. But there's just like any other right, this is not absolute.
Absolute.
The state can regulate in order to protect public interest. But in regulating the freedom of speech, which is a basic constitutional right, it has the obligation to use the least restrictive means. At may dadagdag ko pa po, pagdating po dito sa pag-regulate ng free speech, it's parang, it's a lost cause basically. Kasi iko-question talaga yan sa Supreme Court. Ganun po ang mangyayari. So may tanong ko po sa inyo, Ms. Kabayan, na pakinggan niyo po briefly yung aking sinasuggest na Digital Council of the Philippines. Kumbaga ito parang self-regulatory, pero magfa-fact check din po siya. Tapos, yung findings niya ay ipapasa po doon sa different social media platforms katulad ng Facebook, ng Instagram, ng X, ng TikTok. At nakabase po doon sa findings, pwede po nilang i-flag, pwede po nilang i-take down yung content.
In other words, so, ang naturang mga platforms ay member din ng Digital Council.
Yes
of the
po,
Philippines.
maaari po silang member ng Digital Council of the Philippines. At yun nga ho, sinasangguni ko na maaari po tayong magkaroon ng isang batas para obligahan itong mga social media platforms na i-flag itong mga pieces of information na matutuklasan na fake.
Opo, dahil malaga po ang sa hearing ho kanina at yung mga guests mula sa Meta, importante talaga ho yung mga platforms na sila ang mag-control, or mag-monitor ng mga lumalabas sa iba't ibang platform nila.
Yes po. Mr. Chair, matanong ko rin po kay Kabayan Noli de Castro, naobserbahan niyo po ba na depende kung ano yung social media platform, ay maaaring silang magkaroon ng parang community guidelines sa isa na kakaiba doon sa iba. Kumbaga, Facebook meron siyang sariling guidelines, ang Twitter may sarili siyang guidelines. Sa inyo pang karanasan at obserbasyon ay nakikita niyo po itong ganitong sitwasyon.
Well, nakikita ko dito halos pare-pareho lang ang mga ang Twitter, ang Facebook, ang Instagram, pare-pareho din ng nilalaman nila.
Opo. Ang content po nila and the way they disseminate
Oo.
information, Mr.
Opo.
Chair.
Opo.
But for the information of everybody, in the past 3 TRICOMs, we have already established na minsan, katulad ng TikTok, meron siyang redress system. Pwede po niya i-take down yung news. Minsan nakakalusot nga lang ho. At yung fact-checking, hindi naman po ginagampanan din ng Facebook. Parang i-report po isang piece of information. Paramihan po ng report. Kahit totoo na po yung news, pero natalo sa dami ng trolls ng kabilang kampo, o kaya ng kabilang bando, iti-take down ito. So it's not really on the basis of what is true or what is fair. It is on the basis of gaano karami kang magre-report, di ba? Parang popularity contest. So ito po ang problema nga natin. So with that, Mr. Chair, I would like to conclude by asking, would you agree to the idea of a Digital Council of the Philippines?
Yes po, Congressman. Itong Digital Council of the Philippines, just like kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, ito ho ang maaring, kasi sabi nga ninyo ay hindi ho tayo pwedeng maglabas ng batas dahil makikwestiyon hanggang Supreme Court. So itong Digital Council of the Philippines, ang pinaka mabilis na maaring kumestyon sa mga content providers na lumalabas, lalong-lalo na ang mga fake news.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. I would just like to conclude by reiterating my stand against fake news. It is really alarming. It is appalling.
Yes, of course.
Appalling is an understatement, in fact. Nakakainis na po talaga. It's really annoying. Especially na ngayon, maraming political developments, it's election time, iba-ibang paninira. And I have also observed, it is also, katulad ng isang araw lang, meron akong isang constituent na halos mabiktima ng perang scam. Ginamit ang deep fake ni Mr. Ramon Ang as well as ni Katunying. And they were actually trying to sell this pyramid scheme. And alam nyo naman, not everybody can exercise or has the ability to exercise critical thinking. At minsan, dahil sa kahirapan na rin ng buhay, ay kumakapit sa patalim, sinasakyan nito mga scam, kinigive up ang kanilang at nawawala ang kanilang hard-earned money. Not only that, itong nakaraang weekend nga rin, maraming mga fake news na lumalabas, and kahit anong ginagawa na positibo ng ating pamahalaan ay nalulunod sa dagat ng fake news. And this situation cannot be tolerated. This is the hope of this humble representation, that we can come up with regulation that will effectively control the spread of fake news while respecting our basic constitutional right to freedom of speech. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.